Okay, these are my wireframes. I'm going to take a screenshot of that. It here. Okay, these are my wireframes for my travel experience application, and this is the onboarding process. So after creating the wireframes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert this into visual design. So what I can do is I can open a phone, and then let's select this one on top. So I'm start creating these layouts. The first one, these are kind of similar. So consistently, I can create components for all these elements. So I can start off with this navigation one, the dots on top. So the first thing I'm going to create is components for those. All right. Now I'm going to create an ellipse right here. I'm not going to consider about the sizes much. I just want to like present it to you and demonstrate it to you. How should you approach it when you get a project? So let's give it 30 by 30. And this is our dot, like this carousel presentation. And I'm going to create another one. So you can see this have two states. Number one is this default state, and the active slides it's highlighted in black color. So I can highlight that in particular color. So I'm going to highlight it in black color like this. So these are the two components. So in order for you to see it better, okay, this is the active state. This is the normal state. So let's create a component for that particular element, create component set, and I'm going to name it as indicator, and it has two elements. Let's rename this as state. This one is active. This one is default. Okay, now I have this indicator right here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to my assets section. Now I have this indicator right here. I'm going to put it in my design. So I need 4 of these. So I'm going to paste it 4 times. And maybe put it inside another frame. Frame selection, and I'm going to call it indicator maybe. And then go to auto layout and directions here. And I'm going to give it 20 or 10 pixels gap and center align it like this. And I don't want everything to be inactive. So I will create the first one active and all other 3 is default. So this is the dot navigation of that particular screen. So I have created a component so I can reuse it in any other screen. So let's say I try to create the second screen. So what I can do is I can make this inactive or default, and second screen, this one is active. So you can follow the same thing for other screens as well. All right, now next one is this particular image. So in order to create the image, I'm going to delete this one for now. What you can do is you can create another frame. Like this. Okay, let's say this is our image, and I'm going to get an image from here. Resize it. So when resizing, make sure to press the shift key, otherwise it will not looking that good because it will affect your aspect ratio as well. So this is my image. So we can add some border radius, let's say 15. So this is the border radius I'm going to add, and maybe some effects as well. Okay, and then we have image. So image is also can be a component. So if you have so many images, you can create an image component as well. So in order to do that, I'm going to drag this right here and make it, name it as image, and create a component. So right now you know how to create a component with image and so on. So I'm going to use this right here and align it center. And we have this back and both buttons, like back and forward buttons. So in order to create those, we have plugins here. So in plugins, I'm going to search uh, any icons will do, but I'm going to use material symbols. So if you search for material symbols and click on that, it will give you this kind of a layout with all the icons. Then I'm going to search for back key. So this one is back. And next, forward. This one is the forward. Okay, now we have back key and forward key. So I want them to be here. So let's put this one inside a frame. Let's call it back. And I'm going to give it some background color. Border radius. I want to make it a circle. And put auto layout and add some padding in here as well. 10, 10. Okay. So it will look like this. There's this one right here. So you can center align by selecting the layer that you want to align with and the other layer, and then click on this one. It will vertically align right here. Or even when you drag it right here, it will show you the guidelines. So this is the center line. So I'm going to do the same thing for this one as well. So in order to do that, I'm going to create a component with this one, so we can use it later as well. So I'm going to copy this again and change the icon right here to other one. Okay, now let's create a component. Using these two. So we have two variants. This one I'm going to call it direction back. This one direction forward. Okay. Now we have our arrows as I will use them here. This one right here. Another one. This is forward. Select both of them and center align them as well. So it will look like this. And then we have some text right here. So you have to consider the typography that you should use. And one way you can do that is you have to go to Behance and get some design inspiration for your design and select the typography based on what other users are already using. Or you can directly go some where here like Apple typescale.com or even Google fonts and try to find out different fonts that will use should you can use in your design. I'm going to use this particular font, Poppins. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a text layer right here. It is a heading, so I'm not going to create a box like this. I just going to uh, click on it and it will be like this. Select the font as Poppins. I want it to be bold and change the font size to maybe 32. And then this is my text. I'm going to increase the font size to something around 48. So it is actually easily visible. Okay, this is my text. So it is lack of colors because I'm not going to select colors right now. It is actually, you can select colors, whatever the colors you like. You can use gradients or anything. And this is how we can create a heading. And you know how to create a paragraph as well. And let's talk about the buttons. So for the buttons also, we can do the same thing. We can first create, we have a share button here. So I'm going to create a text called share. We don't need it to be this big. So 24 will be enough. And font size also medium. Let's put it inside a frame and call it a button. And put some background to it as well. You already know how to create a gradient. So I'm going to create a gradient for this one. Let's use something like this. For this color, some darker version. Okay. I want to change the direction of my design as well. So I'm going to use it like this. Maybe the text size should be much larger. 36 will do. Okay, now we have our button and add some padding to that. 30 pixels from this end and 15 pixels from this end. Let's add 60. And then add some border radius. Okay, this is our button. So this is the default state of our button. So I'm going to create another button and this is the mouse over state. So for the mouse over state, I'm going to increase the intensity of this blue color a little bit. And even this blue color will be little dark. So this is the default. This is the and let's create a inactive state as well, just in case. Inactive state, I'm going to give this gradient 50%. So that is the inactive state. So let's create a component set for the button as well. Button. The first one, I'm going to rename this not state. First one is default, over, and inactive. So let's place this button here. Set the paragraph as well. So always make sure now you don't have, when you do the designing, make sure to switch on your uh, grid lines as well. So right now I don't have grid lines switched on. So layout grid, columns, and make sure to put whatever the amount that you need as gutter and 4 columns, and gutter can be 20 and margin is also say 30. Now we have margin, so make sure to resize this according to your grid line. Okay, I'm only going to create designs inside this grid line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create 2 grid lines right here. So you can drag from your ruler and create this kind of a guideline. You can delete it by selecting it and click on delete button. Okay. Create a paragraph right here. And for the text, use this one. I don't want it to be bold. It's regular. The font size should be 16. I want it to be center lined, so it is okay. Okay, so this is my design. So when I do the design, I figure out now my indicators look good if these are here. So I can move my image up top. And have my indicators right here. So you can change your wireframe alignments if you think that it is a good idea to change it like that. All right. Now I have my paragraphs, and now let's put the buttons. Number one, this button is here. It is called share, center line. And we have another button to skip. So let's create that button as well. This can be primary button and the skip can be the secondary button. So the skip, you can use the similar way. You can create it similar way, frame selection and background. I'm going to give it a very light background like this one, and use the same padding 60 and 15. To layout 60 and 15 and 10 for this. Now this is my skip button and it has only 2 states, hover and active, regular. Let's call it default because we use the same wording for other button. And the next one is hover. Let's create inactive button for as well, just in case. For the hover, I'm going to increase the opacity of that to 50%. And for the inactive, it is 0. So it don't have, okay, no, 25. And I'm going to reduce the opacity of this one to 50. So it will look like this. Okay, let's create a button component again. Call it secondary button. Three states: default, hover, and inactive. Now we are going to put that button down here. So you can see that button sizes are different. So you can resize it because the skip has only 4 characters. It is different. So you can resize it like this. Don't try to put a fixed size up here because we want it to be like that, taking the size of the content. So you can change it right here. So the button sizes and the text proportions are little bit off, but I'm just trying to demonstrate it to you. So make sure to create it properly when you do your designs. Okay, these are the things that they have in this design. All the things are covered. Okay, now next, let's create the second one. This is the first screen. This is the second screen. For the second screen, I want this one to be inactive and this one to be active. I'm going to use different image for this one. Let's use this one maybe. Okay, step 2 is that, and let's create step 3. The content and everything, you can create your own content and put. Just put in step 1, step 2, step 3. Let's create, copy this one. And finally, step 4. So in here, we don't need this one to be active. This one is the active one. It should be inactive. See, it's the active one. Let's change the image of that one as well. So make sure you select the like correct image, otherwise it whole frame will fill up. Okay, these are the 4 things that I created. From my wireframes, I created these these things. This is actually not very high fidelity prototype, but all the components I created and the design is there. So this can be my final design, but it is not very optimized. So don't take it as final design. I'm trying to demonstrate it to you. So after you create these wireframes, now you have to create the prototype. So say I'm going to first and then my atoms here created. So this is the visual design. And now I'm going to create a prototype by using these designs. So when you try to create a prototype, let's have to create a focal point like flow point as well, starting point. So select first one of your design and click on this prototype right here and click on flow starting point. Flow 1. I'm going to call it onboarding because this is the onboarding process of our screen. All right. So now we have this onboarding process. And then in the prototype, there's option called show prototype settings. So this is the device that we selected. So we can select whatever the device we like. And this is the one I selected from the artboard itself, the frame. So I'm going to use that. So if I click on here, it will show my prototype in this particular device. So it is loading right now. Okay, this is my design. So you can see now it is not functioning properly. So now I will show you how we can make it work. Okay, now in order to make it work properly, like these buttons should work and this uh, identification bar should work and even this button should work. So this is how we can do it. So in here we have this button, and in the prototype what we do is go to prototype. Let's select this one first. So go to prototype and select whatever the uh, element that you need, and then go to interaction. While hovering, we need it to change state to hover. So I will do that again in the next one. So when we hover over this, we need state to change to this one. And then for this one also, I'm going to select my button, the first default button, and go here, click on interactions, click on plus sign, and I want it to be not on tap while hovering. While mouse hovering, I want its states to change to hover. So this is the state that it will change. So if I go to my design again, so now it is visible. So this is changing when I mouse over these elements. So I want this to, when click on that, I want this to go to different page. Like when we press on skip button, I want them to move to this one. So this is how we can create a prototype. Like when you click on this skip button, they should move to the second step because they don't want to see that one. So skip button will take them to this one. Actually, the skip button is there to eliminate the process altogether, but in this particular case, I want to show it to you. So it will take you to this particular screen. And this one, if they click on this particular second item, it will also take them to the second step. And third button, click on that and you will do this kind of a plus sign, and it will take you to the third screen like this. You can drag it and drop there. And fourth screen, if you click on that right here, you can take them to the fourth screen like this. So now let's reload our design. If I uh, go back and click here, it will take me to the third step, and finally this one. So in order for to work in every instance, I have to add the same thing to these ones as well. So this one, the first one, should take me here. Second one, same place. Third one to this third step. And final one to do the same thing up here. First dot is for the first board. Second dot is for the second board. And the final one is for the final board. This one is for the first one. This one is for the second one. third one, sorry, third one, the fourth one. So I have one rag here. Oh, now if I open my prototype again by clicking on this, if I click here, it will go here. So it will change according to what you already pressing. So you can do the similar thing to these buttons as well. And now let's look at some other example. So we have little bit time. So I already told you how to create. This is already done. Okay, this is how you can create a clickable prototype. So I'm not expecting you to do this, but you can follow the video, and it is a good thing if you can start off with the prototyping process as well. Okay. So this is only for the onboarding process. You can use the same methods any other in any other places of your design, like this. Let's use another card. I'm going to use this one. Let's say this is my dashboard for my design. So first thing I have is my own image, user image. So I'm going to place it right here, and I'm going to search for a let's use this one. Okay, this is my image. I'm going to make it a circle by giving this 100. So this is my profile image. So it is placed here, and then I have some text called welcome. I want them to be left aligned. Always make sure to put your grid, layout grid and columns on for column layout, and 30 margin was the one I have given. So I'm not going to go over these lines that I have added. Okay, should come inside. Even this one is inside. Welcome, and then the screen, and then I want to display a slider of all the travel places that they can go. So how I can create a slider is like this. So let's create a slider component first, card. The first thing I have to do is I have to create a frame. This frame is for the image. So in the image, I'm going to use this Airbnb website, repeat this one. Okay, let's use this one as my image. Okay, this is my image. You can change the image settings by pressing on Shift key and dragging it. And also there are some options here, fit and crop. You can crop the image and also tile the image if you like. So I'm going to use fill. Okay, this is my image. I'm going to give it some border radius, maybe 15 pixels, like this. And then below this image, I want a heading. So this is my heading. Springtime in Prague will be my heading. Font size can be 32. And also there's a small paragraph. I'm going to put this as my paragraph. Okay. So now I have to put this inside here and make sure it has the same width as my content. So let's do 370 by 370. I want it to be a square, and maybe align the image. This, then put this text right below, and paragraph as well. Let's change the color to black. And then I want to add some buttons as well. So I already have some buttons. So I'm going to add this button down there as the share button right here, or maybe center. Let's center it. This is my design. So this is the card I have created. So first card is card elements, and drag it here for better view and put it inside a frame. Frame selection. And let's give it a name called card, and add a background color of white, and maybe that one as, so it will look like this. Now I'm going to uh, add some, I want my image to be like this, and I want my image like these two corners to be not having border radius. So what I can do is I can click on this and go inside this and remove this border radius from left side bottom and right side bottom. So it will look like this. It has border radius on top, but in the bottom it don't have. So I want these to align properly as well. And then let's call it a content. Always make sure to rename them with meaningful names. So this one is my image, and this one is my content. So in content also, I'm going to put auto layout, and I want them to be like this. Okay, so this is my content. And add some padding. I want 30 pixels padding from both sides. So maybe I have to reduce the size of my heading to match that requirement, and also the font size should be 14, and reduce the width of the paragraph. So number one thing you can do is you can drag it like this to reduce the size. There's another thing you can do in here. You can select fill container. So it will automatically change the size to match that particular element. So I have added that. Even for this one, I will add fill container. So my button will be at the bottom like this. So button size is little bit large than I expected. So let's fix that first. let's give it 24, and this font size is also 24, and this one 24. The same this one. You can see now why only have to change the size. So we'll have to change the button sizes everywhere. So I drag this button a little bit larger, so that is why it is displaying like this. It's 191. Contents. Oh, this is our layout. This is our share button, and everything is here. Okay, this is one card, and then I'm going to add some border radius to that as well. And before that, I need some space between these elements. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it some space, maybe 10 pixels in between, and reduce the one right here. Let's keep it like that. And let's add some drop shadow as well. So it will look like this. Now I want this card to be inside my design like this. And there's a slider as well. So let's talk about how to create this slider. Okay, now we have this card component. So I'm going to make it a component, create a separate card, and put it right here as a backup, and then create a component. Okay, we already have button components, so let's create the slider with these cards itself. So we have two cards here. I need four cards. Okay, let's have four of these cards. Change the image. Alpha image. These are the slides that I have. Now I want it to be in a slider. So what I can do is I select all four and then put them inside a frame again. Frame selection, and call it a slider. So now I place this one here. And then let's try to open the prototype. First starting point is here. Let's open the prototype. So right now you can see, even though I have four cards here, it is not showing up. So I can't scroll it like it is supposed to. So what I can do is, in order to first, let's remove this. Switch on if off the clip content, it will show me all the cards in that particular element. Select your card set, the slider, and then go to prototype, and then where we have option called overflow. In overflow, we have no scrolling, horizontal, vertical, both directions. So right now we need horizontal scrolling because we need to scroll it this way in x-axis. So I'm going to switch on horizontal scrolling. Now let's see how it will look like. So now you can scroll horizontally, but it is not coming, like you can't scroll all the way. So in order to avoid that, what we can do is switch off this clip content, and then in the prototype, make sure to stop it when your frame is over, right here. So now if you try to load it again, you can scroll it easily like this. So that is how you can create a scrollable content using prototyping in Figma. So that is the things that you require basically in this presentation. And even if you do animations or anything, there are plugins as well, so you can easily do them. So we will describe those in detail in next session. So is there any questions regarding the presentation or the Figma itself? You can ask anything.